The introduction of DLC fighters back in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U was an absolute hit with the fanbase, and it led them constantly bickering and going at war with each other about who would be the most appropriate fit for the game's ever-increasing roster, and they've been doing this more than they normally should. But I was actually one of such people. I even took part in making a list of who I would like to see be DLC for Smash for Wii U back when I was a freshman in college. That was 5 years ago. Good God, I'm old. Surprisingly, 4 out of the 6 characters I had on that list are in Smash Ultimate today. So, if you couldn't tell, I'm clearly a genius with supreme intellect, and I can easily predict every character that's coming to Smash Ultimate. It's way too easy for me, but I thought I'd talk about the top 5 characters that I'd like to see. I mean, the top 5 characters that I definitely know are going to be in the second Smash Ultimate Fighters Pass. Now, keep in mind that while I totally, definitely know who's going to make it in, due to my supreme intellect, of course, these selections are 100% my opinion, which I understand is an awful thing to have on the internet these days, but I'd still love to hear your thoughts about who you'd like to see down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get into number 5. Alright, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I'm totally biased with this one because I love the Danganronpa franchise, and I'm totally pulling this one out of my ass, but I would love to see Monokuma come to Smash, and I know that a lot of other Danganronpa fans feel the same exact way. The only problem is I can't really think of moves for him. You know, he's got claws. That's about it. He can use those claws for a standard 3-hit combo, but I'm not really sure what else he can do. The only other thing that I can think of is his final smash, where he would most likely just go about doing some kind of execution. But of course, they would have to dumb it down, because I don't know if you know this, but Danganronpa's a very, very violent game. Another option that Monokuma would have for a final smash would be getting the Mono Kids from Danganronpa V3 to command their Exosols and do massive damage to a wide area of the stage. But being a robotic teddy bear would mean that he would obviously be one of the smaller yet faster characters. And that's all that I can think of for Monokuma. I'm not starting off too strong, but it's gonna get better, I promise. I'm kinda gonna go on a whim with this one, and I'm gonna also sound very hypocritical when I say this, because I absolutely despise Ness and Lucas, but I think that we are due for another psychic fighter, honestly. And when I think of psychics, the first character that comes to mind easily is Rasputin from Psychonauts. Easily one of the weirdest games that I have come to adore. Rasputin is an incredibly acrobatic young boy who's mastered his psychic skills in order to become a psychic soldier, or a psychonaut. And from that, he has developed a wide variety of moves that he can use, and I think his standard move, or his standard special, would just be him shooting projectiles through marksmanship. And, you know, probably if he charges up for a little bit, he can shoot 3 at the same time. His side special would be telekinesis, allowing him to pick up a random object and throw it at the opponent, and if it is still on the stage, it can become a usable item that you can throw. His up special can be levitation with a float down mechanic, very similar to Peach and Daisy. And his down special can just be his shield, which can function as either a counter or a force field that absorbs projectiles. His 3-hit combo can easily just be him using his Psy Punch, and maybe for a perfect dodge or parry or whatever you want to call it, he can just use invisibility for a few seconds to give him the upper hand. Now, like Monokuma, I can't really think of a final smash for him, but the best thing that I can think of would be maybe just bringing the opponents to the meat circus and have them get attacked by the butcher. Not really sure. But like I said, you know, he is a young kid who's very acrobatic, so like Monokuma, he would be a smaller but faster character to add to the roster. And I also think that he would be a great character to add to the roster because it would allow Nintendo to increase its repertoire by adding Double Fine to the group of people that Nintendo has worked with. This one really hurts for me because I desperately wanted him in the game, but unfortunately, from what I've heard, he did get declined. But I still really think that Sora from Kingdom Hearts is one of the best candidates for this game. Now, like I said, from what I've heard, Disney has said no to him being in the game. But again, that's just a rumor. Nintendo could be working on him secretly without telling anybody because, it could be a really big reveal. But one of the biggest things that people were saying about Sora is that he can't fight without Donald and Goofy, and that is definitely not true. He is definitely able to hold his own as a standalone fighter. I think one of the things that would be really interesting about his costumes would be, depending on what costume he's using, he could get a different Keyblade respective to that costume. So let's say that you wanted to use the Nightmare Before Christmas costume. He would have the Keyblade that coincides with that world, or Steamboat Willie, or Atlantica, or the Pride Lands. Now, of course, for any world that gives him a form change, like Atlantica or the Pride Lands, they would have to just change up his colors a little bit instead of making him be a fish or a lion cub. And they can even have Roxas be a separate costume, kind of like how Alf is to Olimar. Now, he would most definitely be one of the more quick, medium-sized fighters, very much like Mario or Luigi. But he also has a wide variety of spells and abilities that he can use in combat. Now, being a very combo-heavy fighter, he can definitely have a bit of a flurry attack after his 3-hit A-button attacks, but I think his standard special can just be casting a spell like Firaga, Thundaga, Blizzaga. Now, I don't know how they would pick one. Maybe it can cycle off, so like his first one would be Firaga, then Thundaga, then Blizzaga, or Eroga. His side special can also be a Strike Raid, where he throws his Keyblade like a boomerang in front of him, kind of functioning a lot like King K. Rool's side special. Instead, the Keyblade doesn't land on the ground if he doesn't catch it. And if you jump over the Keyblade, it can also go behind you as well. I think that would be a really interesting thing to go about doing. His up special can be that double jump that he gets. I'm completely blanking on the name though, but I'm pretty sure he gets it in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I know that Aqua gets it in Birth by Sleep. And his down special can just be a guard that can serve as a counter for him. His final smash could very easily just be going into final form and just doing a bunch of combos on enemies that get in his way. Now, again, like I said, it's very unlikely that he's going to get in due to Disney saying no, but I also think that he doesn't have a chance with Smash already having 2 Square Enix representatives in Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII and the hero from Dragon Quest, but there's still hope in my heart. Pun. Now, I've been saying this for years, but if Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 can make a moveset for Phoenix right, then so can Sakurai. Now, being a lawyer, Phoenix doesn't look like he has a lot of options for moves, but UMVC3 surprisingly gave him a lot to work with. Similar to how he plays in UMVC3, his main focus can be just finding evidence that he can use in order to fend for himself, and this can serve as his standard special move. However, his side special can be either throwing the evidence he doesn't need, or use the evidence and its effects. So, for example, in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I believe there's a vase that you can use that lobs a projectile up above you, so that can have that kind of effect. And depending on the size or the weight of the bad evidence, it can have different effects on what happens, such as doing more damage, or doing less damage but stunning your opponent for a few seconds. His up special can be him violently sneezing, which I thought was such a good reference to Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations, but something that they can definitely do is give his sneeze a area of effect if it's used on the ground, like a little explosion to kind of knock people away, but it can still give him reliable recovery when used in the air. And his down special can just be having Maya put up a shield in front of him in order to let him find evidence safely. His final smash would either just be going to court and having the judge slam down his gavel, which gets rid of all of Phoenix's bad evidence, or going into turnabout mode, where he just does a lot more damage, pretty much what he does in UMVC3. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it just makes so much sense for him to use that. Because, honestly, everything that he has in this game works surprisingly well, and it can very easily be applied to a Smash moveset. While Pokemon Sword and Shield weren't the most popular games in the series, I still really enjoyed them a lot. The Pokemon are easily some of the best ones that have ever been created, so it was very difficult for me to just pick one for this list. I was really torn because I wanted to go with like Zacian or Zamazenta, but ultimately, pun intended, I am 2 for 2 today. I decided to go with the final evolution of the Grass-type starter, Rillaboom. Hands down one of my favorite starter Pokemon of all time. I think Rillaboom is an amazing candidate for Smash because he is so interesting in concept. We're also definitely due for a fully evolved Grass-type Pokemon because the last few Pokemon that were added were the final evolutions of the other 2 starter types, Greninja being the Water type, and Charizard and Incineroar being the Fire types. The only other Grass type that we have is Ivysaur, and he's not fully evolved. But that does lead to another point that I wanted to make. I think having another quadruped fighter would be really cool. Now, he's not always quadruped. He does stand up on his back 2 legs every now and then. But they can definitely make this work. Now, being a gorilla, he would obviously be a more heavyweight character, but in the game, he's surprisingly very fast, so I don't think that they should make him too slow. His standard special can easily be his signature move, Drum Beating, which can sort of function like a charge move, where the longer he charges it up, the further the attack goes and the more damage it does, obviously. His side special can be the move Knockoff, which I think would be a really interesting concept for a move in this game. Typically, in Smash, people play without items, and in that scenario, Knockoff will just do a regular amount of damage. However, if you are doing a fight with items, Rillaboom can use Knockoff to get rid of someone's item, doing more damage in the process, which is just like how the move works in-game. Now, it was kind of hard for me to figure out what I wanted to do for an up special move, but I think the best move for him would be U-Turn. This can be moved very similar to what a lot of other fighters' up specials are like, where you can input the direction that he's going, but if you run into someone while initiating the attack, Rillaboom can bounce back to a safe distance from the opponents. I also think that his down special could be something like Earthquake, which would just give him a very strong move with a lot of reach for defensive reasons. Rillaboom's jabs can easily be him using his drumsticks for branch poke, and his side charge smashes can be Wood Hammer. And obviously his final smash would be using G-Max Drum Solo after Gigantamaxing. Clearly you can see that I like Rillaboom a lot, and I think that he is one of the best candidates to add to Smash's already huge roster. And like I said before, we're definitely due for a fully evolved Grass-type starter, because all we have is Ivysaur, and we did miss out on Decidueye over Incineroar when the original Smash roster was being announced, before any of the DLC was released. And with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video on the top 5 characters that I'd like to see in the second Smash Ultimate Fighter Pass. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button down below, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to see more. I actually have started streaming as well. If you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see that I did a stream of a game that I used to love as a kid called Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem, but I can't say it's that good. There are a bit of audio issues. For some reason, I could not really figure out what was going on, but you should definitely check that out, and I do a whole bunch of other reviews and top 10 videos as well, so be sure to check those out. With that being said, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.